Okay. Ooh, that was a good clap. It's Friday. It is the eve of the NFL playoffs. So what I wanted to do, because Chris and we're just going to pretend Chris is here. I'll say why he's not here in a second. But like we've been meaning to do like a follow-up football video. I think I said this yesterday for like several weeks now. We just kind of kept not getting around to it. And what I wanted us to do is to record a video either yesterday or today before the playoff games actually start, so we can at least go ahead and make our picks for this weekend. So Chris wasn't able to be here today because the roads where we live, like it snowed yesterday and there's a fuck ton of snow. And Chris, I know, kind of lives in the sticks, and I actually live like 5 minutes away from him. But just because of that, we weren't able to get together. So what I asked him to do was for him to just send me what his picks are for the weekend. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go matchup by matchup and say what his picks are and why I agree, why I disagree, or if I'm like, I'm kind of on the fence, but maybe I'm going to talk myself one way or the other. So for the first game of the NFL playoffs for our 2024-2025 season, we've got the the LA Chargers going to Houston to take on the Texans. Chris is the Chargers being the first road team to win, and I really don't disagree with that. I feel like watching, it's kind of the season in general, but even the past few weeks, it really felt like Houston kind of defaulted into the playoffs. And it's not like they're a terrible team. They just never, maybe like a few games here and there, but they just never really felt that dominant or even that consistent. But you look at the AFC South, I mean, the Titans got the number 1 pick. I think the Jags, I think they're in the top 5. Okay, so I know the end of Tank Bowl was Patriots, if they lost, would have clinched number 1, but now they're number 4. I think, are they number 4? Because I know it's them. I think it's the Pats, Titans, Browns, and the Giants are the top 4. Not in that order, because I know Tennessee is number 1. I think the Giants are number 3. I think Cleveland's number 2. Patriots are number 4. I want to say number 5 is the Jags. It might be the Jets. I'm sorry, now I actually have to look at this. 2025 NFL draft order. My point here is that the Titans were terrible and the Jags were also really bad. Like, were they top 5 bad? Because that sounds really accurate. Okay, Tennessee is number 1. Browns, Giants, Patriots. It is the Jags! I was right. They were top 5 bad. Sorry, Jags fans. I'm not trying to rub it in, I promise. I got no beef with the Jaguars. But half the division was top 5 bad. And then the Colts lost to the Giants. They gave up like 40 or some shit. And it kind of felt emblematic of, part of me wants to say the Colts this year, of just being this very inconsistent team that every now and then you're like, oh, okay, they're kind of starting to get back in it. They maybe have a chance to win the division. They maybe have a chance to make the playoffs. And then they just fell apart. But it also was kind of emblematic what the Colts have been the past few seasons. Like basically since Luck retired. I can't even say the past few seasons. When did he retire? Was his last game that playoff game against the Chiefs and Mahomes? I don't remember if he played the next season. That might have been it. And I think that was the year. No, the year they won the first Super Bowl, they played the Texans, because that was the 24-0 game, then the Titans. I think that was the year of the no call, which would be 2018, if I'm correct. Hold up. Has it really been like 10? No, I mean, it's not like 10 years, but that's like, what, 8, 9 years? Yeah, 2019, because that would be after the 2018 season. No. Yeah. Holy shit. That's fucking wild. Sorry, it's just one of those things that, like, I know it's been that long, but it also doesn't feel that long. But that's basically what the Colts have been since. They're competitive. They're close to making the playoffs. They're close to going on some kind of run. But it just doesn't happen, and they can't quite pull it together. Going on a long tangent about the AFC South is the Texans kind of won it by default. But it's not like the Bills, who we'll talk about in a bit. Like, yeah, the entire division was terrible, but the Bills were still a really good team. The Texans were less bad than the Colts. And then I look at the Chargers, and I mean, the Chargers have laid a few eggs, like that game against the Bucks. They got their asses kicked in that one. But this is a team that has a bit of an edge. This is a team that feels kind of tough, and a lot of that, I think, comes from Harbaugh. I have a lot of faith in Jim Harbaugh. I think at the very least, they'll be able to knock off the Texans. I don't know how much further they'll go after that. I guess I'll say this. I personally don't have them playing Kansas City in the next round, so maybe they go a little further. I don't know. But let's talk about the next one. The Ravens over the Steelers. Chris has the Ravens winning. The Ravens probably will win this game. The Ravens should win this game. Lamar Jackson might get his third MVP, and I don't think it would be undeserved. Dude's been balling all year. Like, holy shit. This offense is really good. What do you know? Giving Lamar Jackson Derrick fucking Henry is a really good idea. The Steelers, they've lost like 4, maybe 5 straight. I don't know if they won a game in December. Okay, let me check. Okay, so they lost to the Ravens. Okay, so they lost to the Chiefs on Christmas, the Ravens right after, the Bengals after. So that's at least 3 straight, which, I mean, that was a January game. The Eagles, that's right. Didn't the Eagles have the ball like the entire fourth quarter or the entire third quarter? Like, that was wild. What was the last game? They did win a game in December. They beat the Browns on December 8th, and they beat the Bengals December 1st. But they do end the year on a 4-game losing streak to 3 playoff teams, and the Bengals, who are a team that was right there on the cusp. That's not a good look. I mean, they also haven't won a playoff game in their last 4 appearances or something like that. It's been a good while since they've won a playoff game, and they look like shit, and the Ravens look great, and the Ravens beat them last time they played, and the Ravens have all this, fire and momentum, and the MVP of the league very, very likely. Yeah, I'm picking the Steelers. Because here's the thing. This makes no sense for the Steelers to win, which is kind of like... It's... With the exception of that last game, Lamar usually does not play that well against Pittsburgh. Whether it's because they have his number or just weird Steeler bullshit voodoo magic, the Steelers usually beat Lamar and Harbaugh's Ravens. Lamar Jackson, for as talented as he is, as amazing of a player as he is, because I do not want to take anything away from Lamar Jackson, his playoff performances tend to not be as great. And when I see a team and a player that consistently underperforms in the playoffs, consistently underperforms against a very specific team, and is now going to play that very specific team in the playoffs, I kind of have to pick the other team, even if Pittsburgh hasn't won a playoff game in years, even if they've been on a losing streak and just don't look great. I feel like it's going to be a weird, Steelery kind of bullshit game. And I think they win? I don't think they win convincingly. I feel like it's going to be one of those ugly fucking games. Like 18-12 with like mostly field goals, a few missed points, like extra points, probably a blocked punt somewhere. I think Pittsburgh wins a game they really shouldn't. So this is where I disagree with Chris. Let's see about the next one. The next one is the Broncos going to Buffalo to take on the Bills. He has the Bills winning. I do agree. I think Buffalo wins. I think it's going to be kind of close, though. I first off, I know I talk about this all the time. I did pick Denver to make the playoffs before the season started. I also picked Buffalo to miss the playoffs because I believe it or not only did I think losing Diggs was going to kind of slow down the offense a bit, I also thought with all the detractions from the defense was going to take a step back, and basically this is what I thought was going to happen. I thought Cincy's season, I kind of thought the Bengals would have the season they had anyways. I thought that was going to be the Bills. Like, Josh Allen was basically going to have Joe Burrow's season and Joe Burrow's numbers, having to compensate for a defense that could never, ever get anything done. And that's not necessarily what happened. The Bills look really good. They might fuck around and win the whole thing. I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. I wouldn't be upset if that happens. I think Denver is going to give them a fight. I do think they win. I think they win comfortably, but it's not a blowout. It's like they win by 3, but they were up by 10, 11 with 4 minutes to go. Or like they win by 14, but it never really felt super out of reach for Denver. They just, couldn't keep up by the end kind of thing. But Chris and I both agree with that, which means his AFC bracket would then be Baltimore going, and he didn't pick the games afterwards, but would then be Baltimore going into Buffalo and LA going into Kansas City. I then have the Chargers going into Buffalo and the Steelers going into Kansas City, which I think was where the Christmas game was. And I guess I'll just go ahead and pick the rest of my bracket for the AFC. Yeah, I think the Chiefs beat the Steelers again. The Ravens. Well, no, I don't have the Ravens. I have the Chargers. Chargers-Bills sounds like a weirdly, really fun game. I'm gonna say the Bills win, and part of that is because if they do, and we get a Bills-Chiefs AFC Championship game rematch in Kansas City, it's like 5 hours away, but I might say fuck it and see if I can go to it, because that sounds really, really cool. So I'm like, I might just try to speak it into existence to see if I could do it. And you know what? I said at the start of the year, I'm gonna pick Buffalo to miss the playoffs, and they might fuck around and prove me wrong, and I feel like every year I pick the Bills to go to the Super Bowl, if not win the whole ding-yang thing. And every year, they let me down. And it's huge. There's the part of me that, I don't know, Jim. Sorry, I was going wrong for a second. I kind of said at the start of the year, if I'm not picking them to make the playoffs, I might pick them to win games, but I will not pick them to win the Super Bowl. Even if I think they will, because maybe, just maybe, I have been jinxing Buffalo for years. So let me say it. The Chiefs will go to the Super Bowl from the AFC, because of course they will. But maybe, just maybe, me picking against Buffalo will be what gets Buffalo. It'll get them to the promised land. Moving over to the NFC. Moving over to Philly hosting Green Bay. I know Jordan Love, and I think it was Watson or Dobbs, I don't remember which, but one of their starting wideouts got injured against the Bears. I don't know if either of them are playing, I guess I can check. Hey, the benefits of having the computer right in fucking front of me. Jordan Love. Let's see. Says he's off the injury report. So theoretically, Love should be fine. Packers, was it Watson? Because I think, whichever one it was, I think I heard it like a really bad one. Yeah, it was Watson who got injured. I think I heard he like broke his leg or tore his ACL or like whatever it was. I think it sounded bad. Torn anterior circuit. Gosh, I don't know what the fuck that is, but that does not sound good. Yeah, they're Love might not be 100%, but he's gonna play. Watson's not gonna be able to play against an Eagles team who's been playing with fire. Or excuse me, like I don't want to say like playing with fire because they've almost been getting burned. I mean, it's like how they've just been unstoppable. Like this Eagles team looks really fucking good. I've heard just a lot of people say the Eagles look like the best team in the NFC, maybe even the NFL. Like they will probably beat the Lions if they play them. I guess I'll put a pin in that. Like I don't know. Like as I go through the bracket, that might be my NFC championship. It'll probably be. We'll see. I've got the Eagles winning this game. Like I don't think a battered Packers team is going to beat them. I mean, I don't know. It might be a game that's not even that close. That's just kind of the vibe that I have. Just with how fucking good this Eagles team is. I think the Eagles win. I think the Eagles win comfortably. Chris thinks the same. He has the Eagles winning. Next are the Commies going into Tampa to take on the Bucks. Chris has the Commanders winning. I don't know. I'll say it. I'm a Saints fan. I want to see Tampa lose. I'm a Sooner fan. I want to see Baker do well. Like I hate being torn on that. I wish I could just say the Saints are out. I can root for whoever. I hope you guys do well. Or like, fuck you. I hate your team. I'm like, I can't do that when Baker's on the Bucks. Like, come on, man. Here's the thing. Because I had said yesterday or so that I was like, yeah, like the Bucks defense is not that good. And then I was actually just looking at the scores of a lot of their games. Like the teams don't score a lot against the Bucks. Like even this, it was early in the season, but held the Eagles to like 17. And I think even one of those like a late game touchdown. I mean, they fucked up the Saints both times, but I mean, the Saints offense has been bad all year, though it doesn't really say much. Like, I mean, they held the Panthers in the penultimate game, I think, like 18 or so. And I don't know how impressive that is because it's the Panthers, but also the Panthers put up like 40. Like, Bryce Young went off. I watched that game against the Falcons. Again, Saints fan, it was wonderful to see it happen. But it was just like, damn, like, he's going off. Like, the Bryce Young redemption arc, the mid-season redemption arc was genuinely fantastic to watch. Again, it's like, as a Saints fan, I want the Panthers to suck. I have no personal beef with Bryce Young, and I hope he has a fantastic career, just not when he's playing, my team. When he plays Atlanta, 5 touchdowns every game, man. I want to see it happen. My point is this. I feel like the Bucks have a better scoring defense than I gave them credit for, and that offense gives them a puncher's chance against basically anybody. The Commanders, I've really enjoyed watching JJNW'S. I really want them to beat the Bucks. I'm going to be rooting hard for them to beat the Bucks, but I think I'm picking Tampa. I've got that feeling of like, man, they're going to go off. Like, they're going to score like 40 something. I don't know. And I don't know how much of a shootout it's going to be. Like, I know Washington has a good offense, but I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with that shit. I've got Tampa winning. And the last game of the weekend is the Vikings at the Rams. Chris has the Vikings winning this one. This is another one where I'm not sure of. And I feel like the Vikings are a better team. I know at the start of the year, I was like, the Viking team looks like the Vikings are going to suck. And in terms of record, they're the second best team in the fucking conference. How many wins did the Bills finish with? 13, which I think means the Vikings had a better record than everyone but the Chiefs in the AFC. Like, phenomenal season for the Vikings. And again, like we talk about the the Bryce Young redemption arc. The Sam Darnold redemption arc has been fantastic as well. He's probably going to be comeback player of the... If not, Joe Burrow did actually come back from injury and fucking balled out, man. I don't know. Especially because from what I understand, the NFL's like, okay, the last 2 comeback players of the year, which I believe were Flacco and Geno, like, they didn't actually come back from injury. They came back from, like, not being, like, Geno having kind of a mediocre career and Flacco from his couch. Or, to be really funny, both of them came back from the Jets. What do you know? Drafted Sam Darnold. He's coming. I know that wasn't the last team he was on. That was actually the 49ers. Like, he's coming back from the Jets. I don't know. Maybe Aaron Rodgers will complete the Favre arc, go to an NFC North team, which, that's the thing, though. I mean, who would take him? The Packers moved on from him. They seem very happy with Love. The Bears have Caleb, and the Bears were a like hilarious shit show, but I feel like Caleb was showing a lot as the season went on. Lions are not moving on from Jared Goff anytime soon. The Vikings are like, well, we can re-sign Darnold, or we can like go with the rookie we drafted. Like, he's not going to an NFC North team. And there's a very strong non-zero chance I think Rodgers is done. So the Favre arc will probably not be completed. Which means no comeback player of the year for Aaron Rodgers for having to come back from playing for the Jets. But, sorry, I was going on several different, like, tangents at once. Sorry, I was making fun of the Jets. Sam Darnold has comeback player of the year. From what I understand, the NFL is kind of trying to crack down on that. It's like we want it to be people coming back from injury. But I think I also heard they're not going to discount any votes for Darnold. So I don't know if it'll go to him. I think Burrow is a very good contender. I think middle of the year, I was saying like J.K. Dobbins, and I think he got injured again, but I don't think it was as serious of an injury as like the previous Achilles tears. Let me actually check that. I might just be making shit up. Oh, excuse me. Okay, I think he did get injured, like an ankle injury, but wasn't as crazy. Again, it's like he might be able to play tomorrow. I hope he does. Wish nothing but the best for him. I think it's probably just going to be between Darnold and Burrow. Anyways, the Vikings have been really fucking good all year. They've only lost to 3 losses on the season to 2 teams. The Lions, fair. The other team was the Rams. It was on a short week, right after playing the Lions. Shit happens. The Rams are one of the only teams to beat them. I don't know what I think of the Rams. The Rams are a team, and I said it before, like, never really impressed me throughout the season, but they're here. Anything can happen. And that's the thing about it. Technically, it'll be played on a Monday, but any given Sunday. And I've just got this weird feeling that, I think the Rams are going to fuck around and win this game. And it's going to make me really sad. I mean, granted, as a Saints fan, like, I don't like the Vikings either. I hate the Rams more. It's like, I'll be honest, I hate the Rams more. And I want to see them lose. But I've just got this feeling that, this Viking Cinderella story, this is where it ends. And personally, I don't want it to. And yes, like I was just saying, as a Saints fan, I hate the Vikings. I can't hate this Vikings team. And did you see that video after, what was that? It was after they swept the Packers. And you just got Sam Darnold in the locker room, and like the whole team's like got him on their shoulders, drowning him in champagne, and Kevin O'Connell's just over there in the corner watching like the proudest father of all of his boys. It was heartwarming. It was beautiful. I'm like, I'm enjoying everything with the Lions way more. I'll be honest, with no horse in the fight anymore because the Saints are out, I personally want to see the Lions or the Bills win the whole thing. But this Vikings team is a good story, and I love a good story. And on top of that, they're a good team. This is a great fucking... You know another reason I can't hate this team as much as I want to? The fucking celebrations the defense does, like the whole white chicks routine, it shit cracked me up. I'm like, damn it, I like this. This is great. But I've got this feeling that the Rams are going to spoil all of it, which will just make me hate the Rams more. So that means for the NFC, I've got all the home teams winning. So I guess the bracket at that point becomes the Rams going into Detroit for the third time in 2 years and the second time in 2 years for a playoff game. And the Eagles would be hosting the Bucks, which is also a rematch of a game earlier in the season. Again, I think it was like week 3, week 4. If that's the case, I'm gonna pick the Lions to win. If the Rams fucking spoil the Vikings and the Lions in the same season, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed. But it's like, I think the Lions will take it. The Rams are gonna play them close. They've lost 2 games to the Lions by a total of 7 points. They play each other close. But I'm gonna have the Lions winning. Eagles, Bucks. As much as I want to see that Eagles-Lions game, part of me is like, I think the Bucks are gonna ball out, man. I really do. I think the Bucks can beat the Eagles. Fuck it, I'm gonna say they do. I think they're gonna upset the Eagles, which, you know, is gonna be really fucking funny if Jaden fucking Daniels just says nah and beats the Bucks. I want it to happen, but I'm gonna say the Bucks beat the Eagles, but the Lions take care of business. They are one of the only 2 teams to beat them this year, but I think the Lions get it done and go to the Super Bowl and play the Chiefs. And fuck it, I'm gonna say the Lions win. That'll be my playoff bracket. I wanted to go ahead and share it. Those are my picks for the playoffs. Those are my picks for this week specifically. I will probably update the bracket every week. I think I did this last year, where I did, because I think like every week I was picking NFL games and just kind of made a list of like, this is what my record is. I think I did it for the playoffs as well. So we'll see how I do as the playoffs go on. We'll kind of do the same with Chris. Again, hopefully next week we'll actually be able to get together and like do one of these. But that's that. I'm excited. I'm excited for what made me realize how much I loved football was like a year or 2 into watching. I was like, wait a second. Football is a giant tournament arc. That's all sports are. It is just a giant tournament arc. And most of the season is just trying to qualify for the tournament. And then you get a really high stakes single elimination tournament. And there's all kinds of storylines. There's great characters. You've got betrayals. You've got heartbreak. Wait a second. This is like the greatest show every fucking year. And I am excited for the 3rd act of one of my favorite shows every year. I don't want to say I hope your team wins because you might be a Rams fan. I don't want the Rams to win. But I think I want the Rams to lose more than the Bucks. Baker Mayfield, man, like he makes me like a team I should hate a lot more than I should, you know. But I'm excited. I hope the games are all great.